All right, everybody, get ready, because today we're diving headfirst into building a brand strategy. And not just any strategy, but one that sticks. We're talking about a brand that truly makes its mark. And to guide us on this little adventure, we've got this super insightful article from samhub.io, a platform that's all about data-driven marketing. And let me tell you, that's a concept I can really get behind.
Yeah, data's crucial. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, we're not building brands in some kind of bubble, right? It's about real people connecting with an audience.
100%. And the Sam Hub article gets that. They go beyond just like the surface of things, logos and slogans and whatnot. They say a brand, the real deal, is about the complete experience someone has with your business.
It's everything, really. Every single touch point, interaction, the feeling people walk away with it all adds up.
Like that old saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Yeah, but with a brand, it's more like every impression is a first impression. You got to nail it every time.
Ooh, I like that. Every interaction matters. It's all building towards that bigger picture of what your brand represents. Now, the Samhub folks, they break down a successful brand strategy into a few key parts. And the first one they hit on is brand purpose.
The why. The reason you're doing what you're doing, it's got to go beyond just making a profit.
Right.
What kind of impact are you making? What's the bigger goal?
Right, exactly. And they use Tom MS shoes as a great example here. Now, everybody knows Tom MS. They're practically synonymous with giving back, with social good. But the really cool part is how they've made that a core part of their identity as a brand.
It's not just some marketing line buried on their website. It's ingrained in who they are.
Exactly. When you buy a pair of Tom MS, you're not just getting shoes, right? You're buying into the fact that you're part of something that's giving back.
And that's powerful. You're not just a customer. You're part of a movement. You feel good about your purchase. And that's something traditional advertising just can't replicate.
It's a deeper connection. You're invested, you know? Okay, so we've got that purpose piece down. What's next on the brand strategy checklist?
Brand identity. Think of this as how your brand looks to the world. It's the visual language you use, your logo, colors, typography, everything that creates that visual experience.
It's what makes you instantly recognizable, right? Like you see that sleek minimalist design and you instantly think Apple. You know it's them just from the look.
Exactly. And that instant recognition is pure gold in today's market. There's so much vying for people's attention, you got to stand out.
And stand out for the right reasons. Because a strong visual identity does more than just look pretty, right? It speaks to what you're all about, your values, your whole vibe.
Absolutely. It's messaging without words.
Yeah.
You know, you think about those golden arches, the Amazon smile. It's more than just a logo at that point. It represents something.
It's shorthand for the whole brand experience. All right, so we've got purpose, the why, and we've got identity, the look. But a brand also needs to know where it fits in the grand scheme of things, right?
Right. That's where brand positioning comes in.
Figuring out how you stand out. Why should people choose you over everyone else?
Exactly. What makes you unique? What's your niche?
The Sam Hub article uses Nike's Just Do It as an example here. Talk about powerful positioning. 3 little words, but they say so much about what Nike's all about, you know?
Motivation, empowerment, pushing your limits.
Yes, they completely own that space in everyone's minds. You think athletic apparel, you think Nike, instantly that's the power of nailing that brand positioning.
It's brilliant, and it shows you don't need a whole paragraph to get your message across. Sometimes all it takes is the right words delivered the right way.
Okay, so we've got our purpose, the why, identity, the look, and positioning, the how you stand out. So how do these pieces, all these individual parts, work together to create that amazing brand experience for the customer? It's got to be more than just checking boxes, right? It's like having all these amazing ingredients, but we still need to make the recipe right. We've got the what of the brand down, but what about the how? That's where strategy comes in.
Exactly. It's how we bring it all together. Think of it like, I don't know, composing a symphony or something. You got all these separate instruments, right? Like our purpose, our identity, our positioning. Each one's got its own unique sound.
Okay, I'm liking this analogy.
And then it's the composer, the strategist, who takes those individual sounds and arranges them, makes it into something people actually want to listen to.
So the strategy's like the sheet music for our brand. It makes sure every single interaction, every message, everything's working together perfectly in tune.
That's it. And when you nail that, when your brand is really harmonized like that, you get this awesome feedback loop going. A good experience makes people loyal, and then loyal customers just make your brand even stronger.
Everybody wins. And speaking of wins, the Samhub article, it doesn't just stop at defining what a brand is. It really digs into the benefits of having that strong strategy in place.
Right. And one of the biggest takeaways for me was the whole thing about connecting with people on an emotional level. Like, think about Coca-Cola, right?
Classic example.
They are the masters at associating themselves with emotions. Happiness, nostalgia, sharing good times. They've got it down to a science.
Their ads, it's less about the actual drink, more about the feeling.
Exactly. They're tapping into something deeper, something everyone can relate to on some level.
Because we all like to feel good. And when a brand makes you feel good, you're more likely to choose it.
Emotions are powerful, way more than we often realize. People make decisions based on how something makes them feel, even more than logic sometimes. It's pretty wild when you think about it.
It's true. It's not always about having the best product or the lowest price. It's about that feeling, that connection.
It's like creating a community that people want to be a part of.
And speaking of community, the article also talks about how a strong brand can be a huge advantage when it comes to standing out from the crowd, right? They use Airbnb as an example, which is pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, Airbnb's killing it. And they do it by really focusing on that community aspect. Unique experiences, feeling like you belong it. They've positioned themselves as more than just a place to crash for the night.
Which is smart because that's what people want these days, especially younger generations.
Yeah.
Authentic experiences, not just the typical hotel thing.
They're selling a feeling, adventure, connection, the chance to live like a local. And that's something you just can't get from a big chain hotel, no matter how many stars it has.
So they're not just selling a room, they're selling a story, a whole vibe.
Exactly. They've found a way to differentiate themselves in a market that's already pretty saturated, and that's huge.
Okay, so we're all on board building a strong brand. It's not optional, right? It's a must do. But how do we actually get it done? How do we take that amazing strategy we've been crafting and make it a reality? It's like we've got all the plans drawn up, the blueprints for this amazing house, but now we've actually got to build the thing, right? How do we take this awesome brand strategy we've come up with and make it real, make it something people can experience?
That's where the real work begins, right? Putting it all into practice. And the Samhub article, they talk about this too. They make a really good point about having clear brand guidelines.
Okay, so we're not just playing it by ear then.
No way. Those brand guidelines, those are key. Think of it like your brand's rule book, the instruction manual. Make sure everyone's on the same page. Your marketing team, customer service, everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet when they're talking about your brand. Consistency is key.
So everything's connected.
Exactly. Every single touch point has to reflect your brand's personality. Your website, your social media, even how you answer the phone, it all matters.
So it's like having that set of blueprints, right? Everyone involved in building the brand is working from the same plan, making sure the final product is what it's supposed to be.
Exactly. No one's building a double garage when the plan was for a swimming pool. And those guidelines, they got to cover everything, how your logo gets used, what kind of voice you're using, everything.
The nitty-gritty details.
It might seem like overkill, but trust me, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
That's what separates the good brands from the truly great ones.
Okay, I'm convinced. Gotta sweat the small stuff. But even with the best strategy, those detailed guidelines, we can't just assume it's all working perfectly, right? We need to know if it's actually resonating with people, if the brand's hitting the mark.
You got it. Got to measure to see what's working and what's not. And luckily, the Samhub article, they give some really solid advice on how to actually measure how your brand's doing.
Because honestly, trying to measure something like a brand, it can feel kind of vague, right? Where do you even start?
Totally. But it's not as mysterious as it seems. They talk about tracking things like brand awareness, for starters. How many people actually know about your brand? Are they talking about you, sharing your stuff online, that kind of thing?
Word of mouth is huge, especially these days.
Huge. And then there's brand sentiment. What are people actually saying about your brand when they talk about it? Good things, bad things. You gotta know.
That's got to be especially important now with online reviews and social media and all that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like having a direct line to what people really think, and you can't put a price on that.
And of course, there's brand loyalty, right? Are those first-time customers coming back for more? Are they telling their friends about you?
That's the dream right there. Loyal customers, they're the lifeblood of any business. If you can get them to stick around, you're doing something right.
And what I love about all this is, if you're paying attention to the data, you can adapt and evolve your strategy over time.
100%. Building a brand, it's not a one-and-done thing. It's an ongoing process. You're constantly learning, tweaking, fine-tuning as you go.
It's like tending a garden, right? You've got to keep at it if you want it to thrive.
Love that analogy. It's about being responsive, paying attention to what your audience wants, what the market's doing, and being brave enough to change things up when you need to.
This has been fantastic. This Samhub article, it's a goldmine of useful stuff for anyone looking to build a brand that really makes an impact.
Couldn't agree more. They did a great job of breaking it all down, making it understandable and actionable, which is key.
And for our listeners, we hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought, maybe sparked some ideas for your own brand building journey. Remember, it's not just about what you're selling, it's about the whole package. It's the story you tell, the feeling you create, the impact you have on the world. So go out there and build something amazing.